What is up, guys? Happy Thursday. Welcome. Week 8, Thursday Night Live. We're going to hang out for about a half an hour here, and we'll cover the player news, the injury news, everything that you guys need to be aware of that happened today. And we'll talk about the Thursday night football game going on. We got the Chargers hosting the Vikings. Obviously, I got my Chargers stuff on. I'm hoping for a Justin Herbert game here, as they kind of got embarrassed last week on defense, and Herbert had a couple interceptions. Hopefully they clean that up. But we'll hang out again for about a half an hour. If you guys do have questions, please get them in the chat. I will double back to those in a little bit. I'm just going to read the underdog player news from this afternoon, this morning, and let's get all caught up with the news. And thank you for hanging out with me on this Thursday night before the game. Let me go ahead and just zoom in a little bit here. All righty. So this actually surprises me. Aaron Jones is active tonight. I am not pulling Jordan Mason from my lineup. I'm going to keep playing Jordan Mason. Even if you look back at the week 1 game, 15 carries for Mason, 8 for Aaron Jones. Jones had, I think, 2 or 3 catches in that game. That's kind of the vision that I think the Vikings have for this offense, where Jones is there to be change of pace, get a few carries, get a few targets, and then basically want to manage his workload and make sure that he stays healthy, because they need him for another playmaking weapon on this team. So active tonight, first game, he had 2 walkthrough practices. I don't think he's going to get a ton of touches. I think Jordan Mason's still a guy that I want in my fantasy lineup tonight. Jones is like RB 30 something in my rankings. If you guys are curious and you have questions on that, please let me know. But basically, you're hoping for a touchdown or a big play or 2 in the passing game. Good news for the Chargers, Joe Alt is active. Texans, no Nico Collins or Christian Kirk today, did not practice. I think tomorrow we'll find out if these guys are going to play. They should be able to rule them out. Or at least if they say questionable, we'll know going into the weekend if they're going to be in or out. For now, I'm assuming no Nico, no Christian Kirk for week 8. No Ricky Pearsall today. So I might have to move Juwan Jennings up my rankings just a little bit. Brock Purdy did practice today. This one was a bit of a head scratcher. A.J. Brown not practicing back-to-back days with this hamstring. So I don't like that. Tomorrow, sure, he can maybe go out and get a full day, limited day, and he's back on track to play on Sunday, but huge DNP today for A.J. Brown. I think that would boost guys like Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith if you're waiting for those guys. Lamar Jackson officially limited. Again, I think he's on track to play, make his season debut again for us in week 8. Chris Olave got a limited day in. David Njoku got a limited day in. Both those guys are on track to play. Breece Hall and Tyrod Taylor, both limited. They're on track to play. Garrett Wilson, though, back-to-back DNPs. I think I feel pretty good about saying he's doubtful for week number 8, so look elsewhere if you have Garrett Wilson. No Mason Taylor. That one was a new one for me. So we might be looking at Tyrod Taylor throwing to who, Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, just a bunch of junk here. So it looks pretty bad for the Jets. Bengals defense might be in play this weekend for you if you need a defense. Kareem Hunt does not practice. That one's a bit of a head raiser or an eye raiser. I think Brashard Smith is in play with all the bye weeks that we got going on. If you have Brashard Smith on your team and if there's no Kareem Hunt, let's get Pacheco and Brashard Smith in our lineups. Michael Penix limited. He's on track. Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, both full practicing. So that's a good sign, even though we're not going to get Jaden Daniels this weekend. We're getting 2 of their top 2 receivers back this week, it looks like. So good news for the Commanders. These guys are both wide receiver 3 flexes for me in my rankings. No Calvin Ridley today. Don't think he's going to play. Josh Downs, full practice, though. I think he's on track to play. That takes a little bit of steam off of a guy like Alec Pierce, but I'm not really looking at Josh Downs for fantasy lineups this week. No Bryce Young today. We're expecting Andy Dalton to start. You have Dalton Kincaid limited today. Top 5, top 10 tight end option if you need it. Cole Kmet, back-to-back DNPs. I think if you need a tight end and Colston Loveland is out there, he's worth taking a peek at. Loveland looked good last week when Kmet left the game, and now it looks like Loveland could be the full starting tight end in this offense, which could be just enough what he needs to finally, take this position and run with it. So Loveland is in play week 8. DJ Moore's limited too. That's another little boost for a guy like Colston Loveland, because if we're looking at a gimpy DJ Moore, no Cole Kmet. It's Odunze, Swift, and then who's that next man up to make some plays? It might be Loveland this week, so we'll see. The Bills are believed to be looking for a wide receiver in a trade. That's interesting. And then I think we're all in repeat mode here as far as player news. So I think we're all up to date, guys. Christian Watson plans to play. We're not using him in fantasy, but that's a good sign for his availability going forward. And yeah, I'm going to open it up and let's take a look at some questions. Good evening, everybody. RJ Harvey or Hollywood Brown. I don't really like either of these plays. I think RJ Harvey against the Dallas Cowboys is probably where I would want to be. And then Harris, if you check out the fantasyfellowship.com, I did add, I don't know how high I have RJ Harvey ranked, but I did add a running back receiver tab down here at the very bottom. Let's go deep in this one. I don't even know if I have Hollywood Brown ranked in the top 100 of players this week. You basically need a big play touchdown from him. I do have RJ Harvey considerably higher. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I don't even have him in my top 100. So I'm going RJ Harvey here in this question, Harris, against the Dallas Cowboys is the hope. Steven, good evening, my man. I am great. Hope you're doing well. We're struggling with who to start tonight. We need 2 running backs and 1 flex. Kamani Vidal, Jordan Mason, Chase Brown, AJ Brown. Many thanks. Okay, so we got 2 running backs in tonight's game, and you got Chase Brown with AJ Brown. Okay. So I think what you do, because, I mean, there's a good chance that AJ Brown doesn't play. They haven't really said much on this injury. So I'm almost kind of leaning towards getting Kamani Vidal and Jordan Mason in the lineup tonight, and then we make the Chase Brown, AJ Brown decision later if it comes to that. So I'm going to expect AJ Brown to play. That's what I think. That's going to be my take. AJ Brown's probably going to play. I feel good about AJ Brown playing in this game. They did struggle against the Giants the last time they played. It was the Dallas Goedert game, if I recall. So I understand the question here with the running backs. Which running back would we rather play tonight? I have Jordan Mason and Kamani Vidal kind of back to back. Now, the big thing for Vidal is no Hassan Haskins. So he's probably going to play a ton tonight. It's just a matter of how many carries, how many catches does he get. He might have the best outlook as far as volume. I think I'm going to play. I still like Jordan Mason in a game where the Vikings want to run the ball. I know Aaron Jones is healthy. If you're nervous, though, I think the safe play is to probably bench Jordan Mason. But if you are nervous about AJ Brown missing, then you got to play the running backs tonight, and then you make the Chase Brown, AJ Brown decision later. I think in this situation, I think I'm gonna bench Jordan Mason. And hey, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. We need help. We got 1 flex here. PPR league. Gadsden, Pollard, Jawan, and Scary Terry. I really do like Arande Gadsden. I have him as tight end 7 on the week. Now, I do get nervous about playing, fringe flexy type guys on Thursday Night Football, but with all the buys this week, that doesn't really matter. So I do think Gadsden might be one of your best combinations of floor and ceiling. Like, he's been getting, a lot of targets, a lot of attention, and he's a big play guy as well, too. If he only catches 2 passes, it might be for 60 yards and a touchdown. So Pollard's not the one that I'm looking for here. I do have concerns about Terry McLaurin against good Chiefs defense on the road with Marcus Mariota, first game back, yada, yada. I'm nervous about that. If there was one player that intrigued me, it would be Jawan Jennings, but they're also playing against the Houston Texans, which are one of the best opponent against the passers. So I think I'm going to Rondé Gadsden here, man. If I'm going to rank these guys, I think, and let's just look at the numbers real quick here against tight end. The Vikings, middle of the road, they've allowed, an average of 13 points per game to the tight end position. Again, I think Gadsden's probably in the 4 to 5 catch range tonight. 50, 60 yards if you want to just swing for that 10 to 12 points. Obviously, he's got that huge ceiling that we saw last week. But I think Gadsden is probably the guy. If I'm not going to go Gadsden, I would go Jawan Jennings. But I'm going to plug Gadsden in here tonight if it's me. Tajay Spears or Aaron Jones? I'm going Tajay Spears here. We just don't know what the workload's going to be for Aaron Jones. He had 2 walkthrough practices. I'm assuming he's going to be fresh and good to go. He might look explosive compared to other players just because he's been fresh for a month. But I think for me, Tajay Spears, he's getting that 5 to 10 carries. He's also getting 3-4 catches. That's kind of the workload that I'm expecting for Aaron Jones. We just don't know what to expect. So I think I'm going to go Tajay Spears here. Aaron Jones, basically, both guys need a touchdown to really get over 10, 12 points. But I think I'm comfortable enough with Tajay Spears' workload and his ability to make a big play or two against the Colts. I think I'm going to go Tajay Spears here. And good evening to Frosty. Is BTJ cooked? He's never cooked. I think he's going to be fine, man. He showed us a really nice week 6 reveal. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong in week 7. We have the shoulder injury as well. They were close to making a few really big plays where he almost had the ball and he just couldn't come down with it. I'm hoping he's going to be okay with the shoulder. They get the Raiders next week if he is healthy. I don't think BTJ's cooked. I think this bye week came at a good time. I saw a cool video earlier today about Liam Cohen just kind of taking the blame and basically resetting the stage for the second half of the season. So I think the Jags are going to be a little bit better out of the bye. Hold on to BTJ. I still think he's worth holding on to. Henderson might be cooked. That's the one that scares me just because, he had his window, man. He had Antonio Gibson out for the year. We see him make a few big plays in preseason early in the year, and he just is not able to shake Ramondre Stevenson. And now this Terrell Jennings guy, like what the hell is that about? So I'm nervous about Henderson. We kind of need an injury to Ramondre for that to work. How do we feel about Tawara McMillan's outlook? So we got the high ankle sprain for Bryce Young. So I'm going to assume we see 1 or 2 games from Andy Dalton, which could actually be nice for his workload. Maybe he's willing to make throws that Bryce Young is not willing to make. I think he's kind of just going to be what he's been all year. He's been, touchdown heavy in a couple games. He makes his big plays. He's going to continue to lead the team in targets and receptions. He's probably just locked into a wide receiver 3 outlook the rest of the season. I typically believe that rookies get better as the year goes on. So we might see some development yet. And for now, you're getting an okay startable wide receiver 3. We just need to get consistent and ignore, get rid of some of those bad games that we've seen from them. But I'm optimistic. I think he's a wide receiver 3 plus the rest of the way. And starting this weekend here, the Carolina Panthers, they're getting Buffalo. I'm not afraid of Buffalo's defense, man. I think they can put up some numbers, and hopefully we see a nice game with Andy Dalton at the helm. And hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Golden's day is coming. I swear, Matthew Golden, I can probably count 2 or 3 touchdowns in my head that he should have had. And all the roads might be colliding for this first big clash with Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. What I did like about Golden last week is he had 3 catches on the first drive. Like, they're intently scheming him open early. They just kind of forgot about him, and then they only got a target to him at the end of the game. So I'm hoping we're going to continue to grow on that. He hasn't really had a lot of deep shots, as many as he had at the start of the year. So I'm hoping to see one of those. He's not really a red zone guy. He's kind of more of like a Zay Flowers, where you need that big play touchdown to get in there. And I think we might see that against Pittsburgh. So he's going to score a touchdown, I think, pretty soon. So what's weird with Calvin Ridley is he had that really nice game. I don't know, was it like week 5? Like, he was missing some time. He comes back, has a really nice game, and all of a sudden we're thinking maybe we got something again with Calvin Ridley. It was week 5 for 131. He's continuing to make big catches. These are just, super unsustainable for fantasy success. So Maybe someone sends the Titans a 7th-round pick. I don't really know what the contract situation looks like here. You can maybe find a spot for him as your number 2, number 3 receiver on a contending team. I don't hate this move. I think Tony Pollard's also a guy that could get moved as well, as the Titans pretty much, I mean, you want to keep some talent around Cam Ward throughout this rookie season and not completely mail it in. But I do think Calvin Ridley, maybe Tony Pollard, maybe Chico Conquo is tradable too. So we'll see what kind of moves they make. But I probably don't. I cut Calvin Ridley in the one league that I had him because I just had to. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. Yeah, I was looking at that. I think it was separation, and then he's also like leading the league in 3rd down and 4th down. It might be yards. He might be the most yards on 3rd and 4th down. So he's making big time catches when they need it the most. I can remember that Dallas game. He caught a 4th down. I think it was in overtime. He caught a huge 4th down play over the middle. He is pretty clutch. And I think one of these games, we might get one of those slop games. Just the Packers, they tend to play this kind of slow style of offense where they don't need to really step on the gas as much. But maybe we get that soon. I think better days are ahead for Matthew Golden. And I'm not too worried about Christian Watson coming back. I think Dontavian Wicks is hurt. I know that. So we might just be what it's been with Matthew Golden. I don't know if there's going to be any change. If anything, just maybe Dontavian Wicks kind of falls out of the offense or rotates with Watson as the number 3. So I'm thinking everything's going to kind of stay hopefully the same that it's been for Matthew Golden. I have to start Matthew Golden this week in one of my my most important league. I got to start Matthew Golden, and then tonight I do have to start. Who do I got? I got to start Herbert, Keenan, Jordan Mason, and Carson Wentz. So I got like half my team going tonight. So I am looking forward to this game. If you guys do have more questions, please let me know. I think I'm going to go live Sunday morning this weekend. That'll be at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. I'm just looking around for any more news and notes that we need to bring to you guys. But I'm pretty pumped. Week 8, it's a weird week. There's a lot of janky lineups that I'm seeing in some of my leagues. Just with the bye weeks, everyone's kind of pressing a little bit. So we'll see what we can do. Do we think London will do better moving forward? Scared of Mooney eating some targets? That's Mooney's gonna earn 4, 5, 6 targets per game. I think what is now the issue is Kyle Pitts looked really good in that primetime game, and they were kind of scheming stuff up for him. I don't know if that was just like the matchup that they were trying to take advantage of for this certain game against the 49ers, but Drake London still had 7 targets. He was behind Bijan and Kyle Pitts. I think this is probably just your classic floor game for Drake London. Frustratingly enough, this was a game where they were trailing and they kind of needed to open up. They just kind of kept pounding it with Bijan and Tyler Algier trying to come back through the run. But the 49ers played pretty good football. They were able to run the ball a ton. You see almost 32 rushing attempts between this team. This game kind of got slowed down. So I don't think I'm going to overreact to this too much because this, to me, kind of looks like a normal box score here. We just didn't get the big play receptions or the double-digit targets. Mooney there, though, with 5 targets. That's probably going to be what it's going to be. And hopefully London just has bigger days going forward. So I'm not going to freak out on Drake London. I think London, if someone in your league is nervous about this last game, I would still go ahead and trade for Drake London. I think he's going to be fine. Very excited for Kyle Pitts, though. He also had that, I think it was like the first or second play of the game. He had a 27-yard catch called back. So Pitts, maybe Pitts opens things up for some of the other guys. But I do think the presence of Mooney, it's a double-edged kind of thing. It's less targets for London, but it might be better targets for London too, as teams have to, they got to sit above and they can't really let Mooney get behind him. So that might open some things up for underneath for London and Pitts. I mean, Keenan Allen was vintage last week. I did see a fun stat. What was that? Keenan Allen's last game against the Vikings. Let me see where this was. Yeah, his last game against the Vikings, he had 18, is that right? 18 receptions, 215 yards, 264. What? No way. What year was this in? Keenan Allen versus the Vikings. Is that with Justin Herbert there too? Wow. I'm going to see if I can find that game. Did he really have an 18 catch game against the Vikings? (2023) week 3, he catches 18 receptions on 20 targets. He goes for 215 yards. No touchdowns. How can you catch 18 passes and not score a touchdown? It says he threw a touchdown in that game, so I guess that does count. But that might have been probably the best game of Keenan Allen's career. So we got the good vibes. He likes playing the Vikings. So I'm cool with Keenan Allen. He's had a good game. We'll hopefully get that tonight. I don't know if it's going to be as good as last weekend. Last weekend was pretty nice for Keenan Allen. Justin Herbert threw for a career high in passing yards. I do have Herbert as a top 5 QB this week, and I have Keenan Allen right here at QB or wide receiver 10. And honestly, if I were to just update these rankings right now, I'd probably put Keenan Allen ahead of Odunze and Chris Olave. I think we're in for a good game tonight, guys. I'm really looking forward to hopefully the last game of Carson Wentz, and hopefully we'll see Aaron Jones make some plays. We're going to see Aronde Gadsden make plays. There's a lot of fun athletes playing tonight and a lot of fantasy goodness on the line. So we're looking forward to tonight's game. I think it was 44.5 in this one. I'm going to take the over. I think the Vikings come out hot in this one. They're going to try and run the ball, and they're going to take their shots. But I think they want to play from ahead. They haven't been able to play from ahead for a few games here. So look for them to come out hot, establish the run, take their deep shots, and see what happens. They did get Christian Darrisaw active tonight, so that's a good thing for their offensive line. Let me see if there's any more updates I can give you guys. So the right tackle, Brian O'Neill, is out. And Joe Alt also in. I still kind of like Jaylen Warren over Odunze, man. I mean, the Jaylen Warren usage the last couple games has been fantastic. I know he missed that big game in Ireland, but he comes right back and they just give him the full amount of work. So I think Jaylen Warren, I might prefer Jaylen Warren rest of season over Odunze. And Odunze started off really hot, but now you're starting to see the Bears run the ball, play with leads. Caleb Williams not having to do as much. So I do think better days are ahead for Odunze, but I think for now, like, I value, as the weather gets colder, especially too, I start to value running backs just a little bit more than I did when we were drafting them. So I think Jaylen Warren, you still got Chase Brown. Rico is going to be a valid piece, I think, for the rest of the year. Pollard's the one guy that has probably lost the most value here. And then honestly, Charbonnet right now, he's pissing me off with Kenneth Walker shares, but he looks like a guy that will continue to be the goal line back. He's going to be third down back, 2-minute back, and probably get double-digit carries every game. So I think you got a lot of starting running backs here, but I'm usually not in the business of selling running backs. I always want to be buying running backs, moving receivers, that kind of thing. But hey, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Enjoy the game. Good luck. Go get your bets in. I think the Chargers win this one. I'm going to say we'll go 30-24. How about that? We're going to see 3 or 4 touchdowns from both sides. I think we're going to open it up. Both teams are kind of desperate. The Chargers 4-3. They're 1-3 in their last 4 games. The Vikings, they need to get back on the winning track. We might see a fun banger of a Thursday night game. So that's what I'm hoping for. Good luck. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys again Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Otherwise, you guys can check out thefantasyfellowship.com. All my rankings, all my stuff is on there. And again, thank you. Enjoy the game. We'll see you soon. Peace.